Good Thursday evening, everybody. Hope y'all are staying warm, staying dry. Wow, what a couple of days of crap weather we've had in Nougaville. It's supposed to get bitter cold again tonight. Let's hope that the streets have had a chance. Hello, Kim. I'm so glad you're here. Hope the streets have a chance to dry out so they don't freeze over tonight. And man, it could be a whole hell of a lot worse. We could be out in Texas, and we're going to get to the Texas situation in just a few minutes. A lot I want to hit on tonight. Yesterday, hey, Alan, and I'm going to throw my 2 cents worth in. I made a post yesterday, and I took it down. Rush Limbaugh passed away yesterday from lung cancer. And the more I think about this, he has said some horrendous things in his life on the air. Number one, there is no talk radio without Rush Limbaugh. There is no WGOW 102.3. Hi, Tina. There's no WGOW 102.3. There's no Nougar Radio 92.7. There's nothing had not Rush Limbaugh came along. There would be no Sean Hannity. There would be no piece of shit like Tucker Carlson. You just think about it. If Rush Limbaugh had stayed working in professional baseball, we might not have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just saying. But that being said, here is what my pea brain thinks of the whole dang situation. Rush Limbaugh was an entertainer, first and foremost, and he was out to make freaking money. That's all that matters to him. That's all that matters to Sean Hannity. Neither one of them. Well, Sean Hannity's not even a college graduate. Limbaugh was working for the Kansas City Royals at one time. He knew there was a niche out there that he could fill, that if he became a pompous, arrogant ass, he would get listeners. And he succeeded. WGOW in Chattanooga, first AM, 1150. That's where he debuted in Chattanooga, which begat 102.3. All because of the money that station made from Rush Limbaugh. Limbaugh and Hannity and their ilk. It's all about the money. I don't think for a New York minute he believed half of what he was spewing on the air. He was just like that local law firm with the tagline cha-ching. Just in it for the money. Just in it for the money. That's it. Pure and simple. Limbaugh begat Howard Stern, king of the satellite radio world. No Rush Limbaugh, no Howard Stern. So I don't wish ill will upon anybody. And that is a huge void. Tina, that's right. He used the conservatism movement so he could make money. And he was making so much money that he left New York and moved to Florida years and years and years ago because Florida has no income tax. So, but that'll be a huge void for WGOW AM that they have to fill. And I don't know how they're going to do it. On the FM side, they got that damned idiot Dave Ramsey. Cut up your credit cards. You don't need stimulus money, and you need to pay back your student loans. In our compound, we don't require masks to be worn. Okay. But, and then right on the heels of Rush Limbaugh, one of the last true Republicans, along the lines of John McCain, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, Mitt Romney, Bob Dole, unsuccessful in his presidential run. He's in his late 90s, and he announced today that he has stage 4 lung cancer. Let's just hope that when the time comes, Senator Dole is spared the pain. And a nice little side note to Senator Dole. After his presidential bid, if I'm not mistaken, he lost to Bill Clinton. And it's kind of funny that the first, quote, celebrity, unquote, endorsement for Viagra was Bob Dole. So the Republican Party that I grew up with, we're slowly watching those leaders leave us. Thank goodness we still have Mitt Romney in Washington. Because we could have, and if you've been keeping up what's going on in Texas, it is an absolute disaster. And everybody is pointing blame at each other over the power problems. When a great story on CBS News, they have been warning this was going to happen for years, that all it would take is a statewide disaster to bring down the power grid, and it's happened. Nothing was done, and they've been told for years it's going to happen, excuse me, and it's happened. Days without power, freezing temperatures. I think they've got a forecast where they're going to have about 3 or 4 hours over the next few days, 3 or 4 hours where it is above freezing. And then it goes right back to the ice box that it is. But while Texas is in a literal disaster statewide, look at this. Grandpa Munster himself, Ted Cruz, jets off to Cancun. Jets off to Cancun with the story that his daughters had planned this trip or whatever. And I realize he can't do anything. But you don't go to Cancun when the state that you represent in the Senate is going through a disaster. Now, the story goes, he's on his way back now. Let's see if that happens. And even the talking heads on Fox News said this does not look good for Senator Cruz. He looked bad enough. He's looked bad enough the last month or so in the Senate, purveying the stolen election stuff. But then Texas gets hit by the cliche storm of the century, and he goes off to Cancun. Or as Jake Harper on 2.5 Men refers to it, Cancun. So, thank you, Ted Cruz. You are a political idiot. Somebody in your office should have said, this does not look good, Senator Cruz. And then damn sure don't throw your daughters under the bus. So, let's see if he comes back. And Lucy, you got a lot of splaining to do. Simple as that. This is just hitting the news. And I don't know how many of you watch the NFL on Fox. But their lead football team is, of course, these two guys. And tonight, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are brought to you by Jose Cuervo. He was a friend of mine. It's that old Shelley West song. Tonight, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are brought to you by Jose Cuervo. In published reports, Joe Buck has admitted that for quite a stretch, he and Troy would sip on tequila in the broadcast booth. I happen to think Joe Buck is the best in the business. Jim Nantz is a pompous, arrogant ass over at CBS. I mean, Joe Buck is the lead sports announcer at Fox. He is the lead guy with the exception of NASCAR. He's baseball, he's football, and he's the U.S. Open golf. He is the guy for Fox. Son of the great Jack Buck, who, when I was a young whippersnapper, I would listen to KMOX and the St. Louis Cardinal games on the radio at night, lying in the bed in beautiful Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. But I think it is hilarious that Joe Buck has admitted he and Troy Aikman were shooting tequila in the broadcast booth. Now, they don't do it anymore, but for several years they were doing it. And now they have a camaraderie that is impressive. And what I really like about Joe Buck is when they have an event, he allows the public address announcer, be it the Super Bowl or the baseball all-star game or whatever, he allows the public address announcer some time. This Super Bowl, I was just shocked that Jim Nantz allowed Alan Roach, who is the NFL's public address announcer for the Super Bowl and has been for years, and that he allowed Alan Roach the opportunity to shine, and even said, we'll turn it over public address announcer Alan Roach. More often than not, Nantz does it, especially at the NCAA tournament in the Final Four. He's the one introducing the starting lineups when it should be the freaking public address announcer, not him. He is an arrogant ass diva. Simple. But it's kind of cool. And I don't condone drinking. I don't. It's your choice. If you've got a problem with it, you need to do something about it. People will ask me, because I don't drink, well, you want to go here or there, grab something to eat? Oh, they serve alcohol there. You might not want to do that. It doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me a bit. Before COVID, I was known to go to Songbirds to hear an act. So, yeah, it's just kind of humorous. They're making such a big deal out of it. And I thought I'd poke some fun at it, that Aikman and Buck are brought to you tonight by Jose Cuervo. Big news from Chattanooga sports. Chattanooga sports is going to place a bid for the TSSAA Blue Cross Bowls to be held in Chattanooga at Finley Stadium. Those are the state championship games for all 6 public school classifications, all 3 private school classifications. Hello, Music Man. How's life up on the mountain? I was trying to tell these folks, and maybe you can chime in with a comment, Jerry. There's no talk radio had it not been for Rush Limbaugh. Love him or hate him. More often than not, I hated him. But I also said he was after one thing. He wasn't after a movement. He was using the movement to make money. But Tim Morgan and Chattanooga Sports, they're putting in a bid to the TSSAA to move the state football championships from godforsaken Cookeville to Chattanooga. It is a no-brainer. State of Alabama, they alternate theirs between Auburn and Tuscaloosa. Georgia used to have theirs in the Dome. Now they have it at the converted Turner Field, and I do not know the official name of the stadium for Georgia State, but they now have the state football championships for Georgia there. It's that Jerry, you see, just commented. He was the lead in to Sport Talk when it first started. You've got a captain. They don't want to change the dial because they're going from Rush to something else they truly love, which is sports. But let's keep our fingers crossed, because 9 years ago, when I was at ESPN 105 The Zone with Nick Bonsanto, I was a columnist, or whatever you want to call it, on their website. And I wrote a column blasting the TSSAA and now I'm doing this as someone associated with ESPN Radio in Chattanooga. At the time, I was employed by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. And I blasted the TSSAA for moving it. And I, in turn, blasted Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee for not exerting influence. They are the title sponsor of the state football championships in Tennessee. And thank you, Alan, Center Park Credit Union Stadium. And a couple of days after it was posted on the station website, I'm called into HR at Blue Cross and threatened with termination. On the way home that afternoon, I pop it on Nick Bonsanto's show, and he is roasting, because I told him what happened, and he's roasting Blue Cross. I mean, he is lambasting Blue Cross for doing that to me, telling them he did this as with his affiliation with our radio station. And he makes sense, because you guys should have been exerting influence to have them have these state championships in your base of operation, Chattanooga. A couple of days later, I get a call. I'm at the station. It's Friday night, time for some high school football. And this was after I had left the Coca-Cola Red Zone. And long story short, I was offered at the old ESPN, which was the old WDEF AM 1370. They asked me to come there and do a show similar to the Coca-Cola Red Zone after the Boyd Buchanan games were over. And I said, yeah. And that ended my long tenure with the Red Zone, which has now been surpassed by Jeff Cate. But we are getting ready to start the Friday night stuff, and I get a call from Roy Vaughn, communications director at the time for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, apologizing to me for what happened in HR. And then he went on to explain, we can't exert influence because it looks like we would be using our power as the title sponsor to get the bid awarded to Chattanooga, and that's why it went to Cookeville. No, it went to Cookeville because there was some underhanded shit going on between the people bidding for Cookeville and the TSSAA. It's that simple. And I have been to Cookeville to cover state championship games, and that stadium is a piece of crap. There are leaks. It's like the old Chamberlain Field. Almost the same layout. Leaks. Concessions are horrible, undermanned. The hospitality for the press is set up in a tent behind the end zone. It is an antiquated facility, and it needs to be in a city that can handle an event like that and make it a fun experience. And I think this time TSSAA may do the right thing and bring it to Chattanooga to Finley Stadium. We can only hope that that happens, because as everybody knows, it's a toss-up, it's coin flip between the GHSA and the TSSAA as to who is more corrupt. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in Cookeville. Your team wins the state championship. Where are you going to go celebrate? Freaking Hardee's? McDonald's? Where are you going to stay? I mean, that's like if they had the state championships in Cleveland, Tennessee. And if it can't go back to the middle of the state in Murfreesboro or to Nashville, Vanderbilt, because as much as the Titans do with high school football in Tennessee, they can't, lose an entire weekend because they are dependent on the NFL. And if you're going to have that many games, you better have artificial turf, which they do not have at Nissan Stadium. So, but Chattanooga is a no-brainer for state championship, because you just look right around Finley Stadium, you are within walking distance of great hotels, great places to eat. And if the Chattanooga Sports and Tim Morgan are doing the right thing, they'll try to come up with some kind of deal with CARTA to have like a park and ride. Maybe they could get with the Chattanooga Lookouts and use the trolley. And speaking of the Lookouts, if you will go to my Facebook page, the schedule was announced today. First week of May is when the season opens up. It opens up at home against the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the new team that is based in the Huntsville area. Yeah, because I went to Vandy to cover the McCallie State Championship, Ralph Potter's first state championship with McCallie. And we had to drive. It was, and great story. And somebody I admired and respected immensely. And that's the late Bill Cherry at McCallie. The gang is up there, and we're covering McCallie State Championship, and it's a nail biter with Brentwood Academy. And Bill Cherry was just a few months out from having bypass surgery. And he walked up to me. He said, "You got any cigarettes?" I said, "Sure, Coach." And Bill Cherry and I went to a little hiding spot at Vanderbilt Stadium and had a cigarette. Yeah, Alan, the Trash Pandas. Trash Panda is a term of endearment for a raccoon. And that's the mascot for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And their stadium is a palace. It is a palace for minor league baseball. Almost like, I guess it'll be First Horizon now in Nashville, since there's no more First Tennessee Bank. It's First Horizon. And But that is the team that is formerly the Mobile Bay Bears. Mobile did not draw flies, and their ownership moved them to the Huntsville area, which had been without a team for a while. And because their team had moved to Biloxi and became the Biloxi Shuckers. And their mascot is an oyster. It's like the Montgomery Biscuits. Their logo is a biscuit with a pat of butter. And the Lookouts are an old name compared to most minor league teams. And he lives in Chattanooga, and I've done a total blank on his name, but he was the manager who had the meltdown for the Braves against the Lookouts. And he lives down in Rossville, and I've just had a brain fart and can't remember his name. He's the manager of San Antonio, and their nickname's the Sod Poodles. You get the catchy names for minor league baseball. You really do. But the season will open in May. It will end the third week of September. The first 6 games against Rocket City will be at home, of course, at AT&T Field. Then the Lookouts will go on a 12-game road trip. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I will have had my vaccine by then and I can get back to work, because it stunk not being a part of Mocs women's basketball this year. It really stunk, but I accepted it. But tomorrow will open the season for softball, and I'm not going to be there. And my friends with the Mocs athletic department have bent over backwards, knowing that I really don't want a lot of public contact during the COVID crisis. That I don't know, Jerry. Philip Wellman. Thank you, Alan. Philip Wellman, who lives down in Rossville now. Well, I'm not going to call it Rossville. And with Kim's permission, I'm just going to call it Ridgeland, Georgia. Because that covers a big area. Rock Spring, the unincorporated parts around Chickamauga. And Philip Wellman lives there. And that's what we need to rename that area, is Ridgeland, Georgia. And hey, Big Kahuna, if y'all are not watching him on Saturday night, you're missing out on some good stuff. It was the Lookouts logo. Dwayne was #1 for more than a decade. Those eyeballs are cool. And I love the black hat with the eyeballs. Now, with the team being a Cincinnati Reds affiliate now, it remains to be seen how often the black nougat jerseys will be worn. I like them. And when we were a Minnesota Twins affiliate, the guys actually liked wearing the black at home as opposed to the cream color, faux sleeveless. So No. And that's the thing with minor league ball, the Reds don't foot the bill for the uniforms. The minor league club owners foot the bill for the uniforms. And, money's been a little bit tight for Rich Mazingo and the Lookouts over the last year. But we'll be back. Interesting tidbit. I was listening to Rich on Sport Talk. All minor league teams, and keep in mind, Major League Baseball is going to rebrand and come up with a new name for what we affectionately know as minor league baseball, because now it's all controlled out of New York City. Major League Baseball, MLB, controls all of the affiliates. And all the teams have executed 10-year contracts with their parent clubs. So they just, John Wood and Jason Fryer and the rest of the folks who actually own the Chattanooga Lookouts inked a 10-year agreement with the Cincinnati Reds. Let's just hope the Reds start getting some talent. Because I tell you what, I got spoiled. When I started with Lookouts, they were a Dodgers affiliate. Then the Dodgers leave and the Minnesota Twins come in. And two out of 3 seasons, they're the Southern League champions. Mark my words, the Minnesota Twins, well, I'll tell you what, the freaking LA Dodgers just keep adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. Holy crap, they get Trevor Bauer. But the Minnesota Twins have the talent to win a World Series, and a lot of that talent came through Chattanooga. And right now, the Cincinnati Reds are pretty low on the pecking order of Major League Baseball as far as talent. So, but it's minor league ball. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's, were you entertained? And what, you got me behind the mic in the press box. You got Alex Tainch, the MC down on the field, running the between innings gimmicks. You can't have much more fun than you can have at a Chattanooga Lookouts game. So, but mock softball starts up. My dear friends are in from California, the Weisenbachs. They flew in this afternoon so they can be here to support their daughter, Haley. And the Chattanooga Challenge mocks will play 2 games tomorrow, 2 games Saturday, and 1 game on Sunday. And then next weekend, it is the Frost Classic, because they got washed out down in Troy, Alabama last weekend. So the season starts tomorrow. It's going to be cold. But I'm going to miss it, because that program holds a special place right here. And maybe, knock on wood, I can get my vaccination before April gets here, and I can be back behind the mic when the Mocs take on Oklahoma in a 3-game series in April. Yeah, Oklahoma, a team that last week on opening day hit 13 home runs in a 29-run victory. And I know Dwayne is tickled to death on the winning streak for Mocs basketball. I know I am. Oh, I know I'm tickled. I mean, they were on SVP, bad beats. But there will be no streaming of the softball this weekend, and attendance is being limited to family members on the players' pass list. I got a strange feeling, Dwayne. I saw something yesterday. This year, the Southern Conference is the number 8 conference in the RPI. Or number 9. I think it was number 9. Could this be the year? And the NCAA has set out and said, conferences, you can either take your regular season champion or your tournament champion to get the automatic bid. But could this be the year that the Southern Conference could get 2 bids to the NCAA tournament? It's going to be interesting because it's going to be, the entire tournament's going to be in that bubble in Indianapolis. But again, mock softball starts. There'll be no streaming. So to keep up, and I know you're missing it, Dwayne, not being at the games. Or are you allowed to attend now? I know I heard Quake talking about how strange it was doing the games with nobody in the stands. And you just have to kind of, how far do you take it as the PA announcer when there's a good play by your team? So, I just hope my vaccine is in, because I've done some big, I've been fortunate enough to do some big stuff. But I would truly love to be behind the mic when Oklahoma comes to town. But if I'm not, I'll be there when the lookouts open up, and I'll be there for the season opener for football, which will be September 2nd versus Austin Peay. Folks, that's going to wrap it up. We will see you Sunday night at, hey, we'll see you back there next season, Dwayne. We will see you back there. Yeah, it has been tough, but I'll be back for the women next year. I will be returning for the fall football season, September 2nd, Thursday night against Austin Peay. But, hey, make sure you are watching Dwayne on Saturday night, and I will share his so you can watch it Saturday night. It's just like the old days when Dwayne was on television. And, man, those were some good times. Folks, we will see you Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
Oh, look at me. I'm rambling again. Well, I hope you folks enjoyed yourselves. Catch you later on down the trail. Say, friend, you got any more of that good sarsaparilla?
Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Without a doubt, gonna be one burnt out. Drink is running out empty for far too long. I need you, 'cause I'm getting so low. Nothing can you give me, makes me feel so bad. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.